where my future in politics is concerned, at any point, whatever point in my career, my constituents will be the very first to be formally notified.
What does the future hold for former Prime Minister and parliamentary rep for Vieux Fort South, Dr. Kenny Anthony? On Monday morning, Stanley Lucien, host of the popular mid-morning show What Makes Me Mad on Radio 100, sat down with Dr. Anthony to discuss his future in elective politics. The conversation comes amid growing speculation as a cadre of interested individuals vie for the nomination to contest the seat on a Saint Lucian Labour Party SLP ticket.
As you know, under the rules of the Labour Party, even if you are an incumbent and you have not formally resigned or notified your party formally that you're not going to continue to be a parliamentarian, anybody who is interested in the constituents, they can inform the party that they're interested. And so far we have 4 individuals who have expressed interest to represent the Saint Lucian Labour Party in Vieux Fort South. You have Kentry Frederick, you have Danny Butcher, then you have your former colleague and treasurer Lionel, and then of course you have Mr. Cadet.
Yeah.
Mr. Cadet. So there are 4 individuals, which is a good thing. I mean, it indicates that democracy is alive and well in the Labour Party. It's good that the Labour Party should have options at its disposal. So I have not interfered with that. I mean, because in normal times, in any event, whether I was the parliamentarian as I was, let's say 10 years ago, this is what would have happened.
According to Dr. Anthony, any announcement regarding his political future will be made soon, with his constituents being the first to hear it.
What sense are you getting from the people you've represented for so long? Do they say, hey, Dr. Anthony would like you to remain still? And if they do, how much sway is that going to have?
You get that. I mean, people come up to me and say to me that they hear that I want to go and so on. Why don't you have another 5 years and so on. None of them can say that I've asked them to support any of the particular contenders who have expressed interest. I don't engage in that. My advice to them is always, well, and these are the 4 persons who have expressed interest. Whether or not I was the sitting rep, they would have always expressed interest. So what you need to do is to watch them, observe them, and see how they're handling business and what your relationship with them and so on. And then you'll help the Labour Party to make a judgment at some point.
With a political career spanning decades, Dr. Kenny Anthony is widely recognized as a Caribbean regionalist and a social democrat who adheres to conventional norms while demonstrating a commitment to development across various sectors, particularly in education and employment. While his future in politics remains uncertain, he acknowledges that bearing the weight of a storied Caribbean political career is no easy burden.
There is a lot of expectation for this election, this forthcoming election. I say, what do you mean? He says, well, there are a lot of people who are waiting for the politicians for this election. I say, I mean waiting for the politicians. They say, I say, you're not in it, man. Huh? It's the money they can make from the politicians coming up. It's what they can get from the politicians during the campaign. And this is what we have become. So democracy has become...
That has made it less attractive for you.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the politics that I knew. The politics that was ideologically defined. No, that's not so.
Has it become more toxic between the parties?
Yes, I think so. And there are reasons for that, because you can see a generational shift in the relationship between the key parties and the leadership of the respective parties. And I'm going to say something to you, and I don't want you to misunderstand me. In Vieux Fort South, for example, which I'm going to use as a model, I have been able to develop an excellent relationship with all the persons who oppose me and who my opponents at elections. We have become good friends. I have an excellent relationship with all of them. We speak frequently and we speak frankly.
I imagine save Peter Josie.
Save Peter Josie, yes. And you're absolutely correct. My point is that my approach has always been that even though I respect the fact that there are persons in Vieux Fort who will always support the United Workers' Party and who will not budge an inch, there are others, on the other hand, who should never be deprived of access to government services because they're UWPs. And who knows, at some point, they may have a responsive chord that says to them, well, you know, this fellow has been good to me, I've been so unkind to him, let me give him a vote. And I'm not surprised that that worked in the last election for me. I don't know whether some sense that maybe this might be my last term. I don't know where they were thinking of that, but I got a fairly good percentage of the votes. It's one of my best election results.
With a looming official statement, all eyes remain on Dr. Kenny Anthony as Vieux Fort South and the wider political landscape await his next move. Sola Alfred, HTS News Force.